Welcome to a very special live podcast where I'm joined by a very special guest, a very good friend of mine, property entrepreneur for the last couple of years, my own personal nutritionist and personal trainer, Akash from RNT, ladies and gentlemen. Afternoon, Akash, how are we?
Very well, thank you. Thanks for having me, Dan.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. Not had you on the call for a little while. What I wanted to do is get you on today because a lot of people with their businesses are looking, some people are looking at systemizing and refining during this stage. And as we go into the gold rush season, some people are thinking about taking their startups and thinking about scaling up. And I know you've had like tremendous success over the last couple of years, going from startup to scale up with RNT. And I thought we could explore what that journey was like today, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
Lovely. Do you want to give everyone a bit of an intro? So who you are and perhaps where RNT started and what that journey's looked like specifically over the last couple of years since we've been working together?
Sure. So my name's Akash Vaghela. I'm the founder of RNT Fitness. So we're an online transformation company where we help regular busy people get into the shape of their lives and then teach them how to stay there and continue to improve going forwards. I've known Dan for now 2 years, known him for 2 years now. Started working off as a coach-client relationship, but we've become really good friends, and in the process, been exposed to the property entrepreneur methodology quite extensively. And the timing I met you was literally just after I broke up with my business partner, which comes very nicely here because the first 15 months of the journey was very much me, my business partner, and a couple of other lads, just out there training people, having fun at each other's houses.
The band of brothers, was that the band of brothers time that we talk about?
Yeah, absolutely. Like 4 or 5 of us, we used to stay at each other's house, coaching clients on our laptops together, going on holidays together. It was very much like me, my business partner, and a couple of lads. And then I quickly realized I had a really important lesson very quickly about business partnerships and how they do and don't work. And I had a business partner who didn't share the same vision as me and didn't share the same values as me. What it was really was two mates that got together and shared that risk of going out and set something together. So that summer of 2018, about 15 months after we launched, I had the difficult conversation of breaking up my business partner. But after that happened, the sky just became the limit, and the cap I had had on myself previously was just lifted, because up till then, there was always that resentment. I don't know if you can relate to that, where you're with a business partner and it's not working out well, and you start thinking, oh, I'm making more sales than him. He's making, I'm doing this, he's not doing that. And it becomes a lot of resentment. And then you start cannibalizing the business itself. Once I got rid of him, the cap got lifted and everything just started to go crazy. And sales started coming in, clients started increasing, and all those problems that you suddenly experience in business all came rushing in at once. And I had no idea how to deal with it. My answer was just throw more hours at the clock and just keep working. So from the period of September 2018 to, I would say, January 2019, it was very much like, wake up, and from the moment I wake up,
hit it sort of thing.
Just
grind.
And after dinner, I used to have a 4-hour admin block after dinner. I had no one on the team except for a couple of coaches. So I save all my admin for after dinner, and from like 7:30 till 10:30 every evening was like, let's get all the admin done. Let's get the bookkeeping and the payments. And then I think we met in around November, December, and we met in person around January, Feb. And it came at a really interesting time because at the start of February, I collapsed. I collapsed twice in the space of 30 minutes. And I'm very open about it now because it's an important lesson, and it was an important checkpoint in the journey, because it made me realize that I can't do what I'm doing anymore. It was not sustainable, and I had to make a fundamental shift in the business, and essentially collapse from exhaustion and overreaching. And we track our steps, right? And I look at my steps in January, and my steps for that month were 1,000. And for someone who runs an online business, that means I didn't leave my couch.
That's mad.
for that month.
Crazy.
So you can imagine January sales coming in a fitness business. It's already crazy as it is. And then coupled with that, I'm trying to deal with hiring new people, doing all the admin, and wearing every single hat in the business. And that's where I got exposed to your methodology. And one of the first things when I met you, you said to me, most businesses don't start to death, they choke to death. And it's always stuck in my head. Because I realized I needed to make a massive change in the way I was operating and the way the team was, and the fact that I didn't really have a proper team outside of just the coaches. So yeah, that was like the journey before being exposed to property entrepreneur, and like the early days of what RNT was like in the first sort of 18
And that
months.
sounds like a million miles. Like now looking at RNT where it is now, it sounds like you're talking about a decade ago, but that was literally only a couple of years ago. To give everyone maybe the polar, we'll explore the journey, but to give everyone the sort of polar opposite to do yourself credit, if nothing else. Yeah. Today, as RNT stands, like when it was 2 years ago, as a couple of friends and the band of brothers working 24 hours, 7 days a week. And that was like a few of you with 10, 20, 30 clients. What sort of size have you managed to scale it up to now? How many clients have you got?
Yeah.
Is it just UK based?
So we're in about, we've got a team of 12, 10 coaches, actually 13, three people who are not coaches, and the admin team. We're in about 20 countries around the world. We've got 700-800 clients, and we've got a waiting list probably soon going to be going into 2021. And I don't work past 7 p.m. And I get my weekends back as well. So I shared a really good comparison the other day. Actually, I was reflecting. It was on the 28th of May, I think, and I was in Koh Tao last year in Cambodia. And I remember I was away for a month in Asia, and on that trip, on the way there, I remember to pack all my receipts for the past quarter because I was due to do my VAT returns. And I remember, so I was away on holiday in Asia, and I was in a hostel, and I had all my receipts laid out on a double bed, and I was like, I've got to do the VAT returns. It's due next week. And I was in this like tropical island, and I'm here doing VAT receipts. And I remember coming back from that trip, I was like, I'm never doing this again. Like this can't be the life, right, I signed up for. And exactly a year later I was holding a book in my hands. And I don't think that would have been possible had I not had all the systems in place in order to write and publish a book. So if you want to before and after, that's pretty much it.
It's incredible. I don't know how much of that you go into. So Akash has just released a new book called Transform Your Body, Transform Your Life. I'm sure we can share you a link with it in the show notes. Highly recommend it to everybody. In that book, just to give people some insight, we'll talk about it maybe a bit as we go through. Do you share the methodology within the book? I'm not. My copy's on its way to me at the moment. So what sort of structure have you gone through there? Because the methodology you've created is pretty, as far as when we talk about assets, it's a very high value asset. Is that, if people wanted to understand how it actually works, is it in the book?
Yeah, so the 7 chapters, the first chapter is all about a new beginning and a new way of looking at the industry. And then what I do is I go through the 5 phases of the RNT journey in each chapter. So I split each phase into one chapter, and I've essentially formalized the entire methodology into one book. And when people ask me what was the best bit about writing the book, and it literally is the fact that I was able to gain all the insights I've had over the last 10 years and all the different ways I've been doing it, all the different articles and podcasts I've done about the topic, and I've just put it all into one place and formalized it into a really structured and strategically laid out position. And that's been the biggest thing for me, because now if someone asks me, what do you do and how do you do it? It's like, well, just go and read the book. It's all there. Yeah. It's all laid out. Yeah, and that's been the best thing of it. And one thing that I must say is that workshop I came to in February 2019, one of the things you were talking about at that time was productizing your process. And you were saying, you've got to have a name for everything. You've got to have a name for this phase and that phase. And funnily enough, that week, I was just starting to we in the month before, we started calling what we did the triphasic solution. And then I was at that workshop and I was like, you know what, we could split this out a little bit more. And then I went home that day and on the train home, and I started writing out the different phases that a client goes through from the beginning to the end. And I had all these different names. And we ended up coming through the 5 phases the following week. And it all kind of came inspired from that productizing process. And then the following month, I think I'd already released Clean the Palette. And then you started using Clean the Palette on stage, I think you said it. And that was quite cool moment, because the process has been productized after your inspiration. And then now it's formalized into a book.
Well, let's go through the journey then and explore a few of those key changes, because a lot of people listening to this they're going to be in either startup mode or scale up mode. And I think probably one nugget to draw out of what you've shared so far is when we talk about the fact more businesses choke to death than starve is a very real thing, because as entrepreneurs, we're cursed with this survival mechanism. Like when you take the first jump into being self-employed, you think the biggest risk to you is that you're never going to make sales, you're never going to make enough revenue. And the reality is, very quickly, as long as you can do a half decent job, you start to attract revenue and start to attract business. The challenge is actually, how do you process it? And now you've experienced some of that growth, if people were sitting there and they're sort of sizing up whether to go into entrepreneurship or whether to scale up, would you say that the biggest challenge so far has been generating sales, or do you think it would be handling the scale? Like which two of those is the biggest challenge?
Well, hands down, handling the scale.
It's got to be, isn't it?
I mean, the amount of times we've spoken about it, like trying to handle the scale and all the problems that come with it is just it's something that I never expected. I thought the sales was to be the hard bit, and I thought as you grow, everything just kind of falls into place. But I've learned the hard way that it certainly doesn't.
We say, like, half jestingly during the summer, sales solves everything, because if you've had a tough autumn and winter, when the market opens, sales does solve everything. But sales also cause everything, because you've got all this revenue and activity coming in, and it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. It's how do you filter that and process it with high service levels, high margins, and turn it into a profitable business. And there's a few key bits that allow us to scale. One of the ones you picked up on so far is about sort of assets and methodology and productizing. Do you want to share to people what that is, like the sort of things you were alluding to? What if that was one of the step changes? What was that actually about? What happened in that process? What did you create?
If I think about what one of the biggest game changers in the last 18 months has been formalizing our methodology and creating a unique methodology for us. The industry that we're in is health and fitness, and there's so many different health and fitness companies out there. And if you just go out there selling calories and macros and training plans, you're not going to have anything unique about you, and there's not going to be anything that your clients are going to be talking about. So what I wanted to do is essentially create our own language and create our own methodology. And I just basically looked at the entire journey that a client goes through from the beginning to, let's say, 2-3 years, and looked at the different phases there were, and just put a name onto it, a name to each one. And what I did in the process of writing the book is now each phase has essentials, has accelerators, has key nuggets, and now it's got there's a proper flow chart, and it's now a complete methodology that's unique to us. No one can copy that, and it's our way of doing things, and it's just given us that RNT speak, so to say. And it's I would say it's probably one of the best things we've done, because now clients speak our language, clients know what to expect, and they know what's coming for them, which I think in any industry is always a tough thing for people to understand. Like, let's say for your industry in property, even if it's as mundane as selling, cleaning I think you made an analogy once, like you've got a name for how you clean the property, right? Or how you clean.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And
so we've got the facelift and the clean and tidy. It's like,
so it just makes it sound nice.
Exactly. So it creates so much value and assets for the business. It's like, it's not a to-do list. We might talk about this later. I think it's one of yours, but it's not a to-do list. It's Sunday sanity, and it's not a to-do list during the winter. It's a winter hit list. And when you own these things, it makes it easy to communicate, especially in service-based businesses, is to create products. If you run a cleaning company, rather than say, we'll do a whole house for 180 quid. If we do an end of tenancy turnaround, they want an end of tenancy turnaround. Yeah, no problem. That's £225. You create these tangible products out of intangible services. And the other thing as well is when you've got that internal vocabulary, like you've got cleanse the palate, the investment phase. When you go through all the when you go through the phases, is not only do you use it internally with your clients, is people then start to refer it to people they know. People say, oh yeah, I'm trying to work out, but I'm not doing this. They're like, have you actually cleansed the palate? And then what do you mean cleanse the palate? Like, well, you need to read RNT's book. Like, read Transform Your Life, Transform Your Body, because that is the first thing you need to do. You're wasting your time trying to do 200 kilo squats. You've not even cleaned the palate yet. It's like, it creates, So
well, one of the cool things in the book is I've got a glossary at the back. I created a glossary because I had one of the test readers read it, and he was like, what would people who don't understand what RNT, would they be able to understand what it is? Like, oh, it's a good idea. I should put a glossary in the back. I didn't want to change the language. I just thought I'll just refer them to a dictionary, and then that will make it even more like asset-based and unique to what we do.
Yeah, Adam started to do one for Property Entrepreneur last time we were in Mallorca. It's like, I'm just going to write down all the things we talk about, like, what is warming the tyres? What is opening the taps? What is lifting the bonnet? What is the winter hit list? And there's all these things you create. Yeah, it works on so many levels. So productizing things is definitely a game changer. You sort of alluded to methodology as well. So we have the Property Entrepreneur Methodology, which is like 7 years old now. And every year we're adding to it, refining it. And it becomes a way of life that everybody lives. what does the methodology look like in RNT, and when did that come into the process, and what value did it add when you started to use a methodology?
So it formalized the way we brought on clients, we onboarded clients. It made it easier to communicate within the team. It gave the clients clarity on where they were and where they were going to go. And our methodology is split into 5 phases. So we've got cleaning the palette, process phase, consolidation, investment, and reward. And each one builds on each other, and it lays another foundation on top. And we have a graph, and I don't know if people can see this. We have a graph that goes up and up and up. And on the back is a picture of a mountain that I actually took on a hike in Italy. And I took a picture of these 5 mountains I saw, and they form the same shape as the graph. So I thought, let me use that as the background of the methodology. And that's just formed like how we do everything now. And we run everything we speak about now, whether it's how we improve our business, how we talk about the trainer's journey within the company. It's all like, okay, you're going through the cleaning the palette phase, then you go through the process phase. Then once you've hit your numbers on there, you're going to consolidate. Then you're going to go into investment. Then you're going to be the reward phase. And it's just applying that to everything we do and using it as our unique methodology.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for a client as well. See, I did we did my body transformation last year together. And as a client, when you know that it has a start point and an end point, and there's bumps in the road, and it becomes very predictable. It gives you a lot of confidence that you know what's happening, you know what's coming, and yeah, you both speak in the same language. There's absolute clarity as to where you're going. What about some other key things? So people who are listening to this, who are thinking about scaling up, or they've got a staff and they're thinking about scaling up, what other key things enabled you to go from the band of brothers, like 2 or 3 people and 50 clients, up to 800 clients, 20 odd countries, and a dozen team members? What other key lessons did you learn and you've put in place that have taken you to where you are?
So 2 big things that I learned from you guys at the start of 2019 was the winter hit list and the Sunday sanity. And I applied those together because, firstly, just before I came to that workshop, my girlfriend said we're booking 3 days in Cambodia with no Wi-Fi. And I thought, right, I'm an online business. I've never taken a day off since I started. How am I going to keep things going for 3 days without Wi-Fi? And then I figured, well, I'm going to make this work because I've got to do it. Like, I can't just keep living this way. And I thought, okay, you've said do the winter hit list. And you basically said outline all the issues in the business they're going to work on. So I just listed out everything that needed changing. And it was pretty much based on SOPs around my admin, the finances, and bookkeeping, all the stuff I didn't want to be doing. And I just made a goal to just write an SOP for every single thing and make a process out of every single thing. And I spent months doing it. And then I decided to hire an admin member to start sharing the load. And then obviously now we've got more admin members who train each other, but that was one of the big ones. So the winter hit list, where I laid out all the problems of the business, SOP'd them, productized them, made them into manuals that I could share, and ultimately create assets for the business that could be used elsewhere. And then at the same time, I was like, well, I need to organize myself and get this done. Well, instead of waking up every Monday morning, deciding what I'm going to do today and just picking something random off the list, why don't I plan my weeks in advance? So I noticed you guys are doing something called the Sunday Sanity, which is essentially writing your top 10 things you're going to do in the week. And I started implementing it on Sundays. And then I found that I still thinking about work on the Saturday, about what I'm going to do on the Sunday and the Monday. So I started moving it I moved that to Friday, actually. So I do my Sunday Sanity on a Friday, where before I sign off for the week, I write down the top 10 things. And now it's actually become 5. I've dropped it from 10 to 5, mainly because I found 10 too overwhelming, but the concept's the same. So on Friday before I sign off, I write my Sunday Sanity in my diary, and I know exactly what I'm doing from Monday to the following week. And it's all diarized, it's all color coordinated. So I've got on the business, in the business, personal, health, etc. And that way I wake up Monday morning, it's not like, what am I doing today? It's right, let's get right into it. And what I found is, like, you try and set yourself 5 to 10 different things to do each week. You do that over 52 weeks, and you suddenly end with a completely different business. And when I reflect at the end of every year, I do a top 20 things I learned. And one of the biggest things for me was, like, when I compare December 2018 to December 2019, I suddenly had an actual business. Before it was just, like you said, a couple of guys on the laptops. Whereas afterwards I had assets and SOPs and KPIs and all these different things, which just came from the simple act of doing a few things every single week and just making sure they were nailed.
Can you remember the day when you turned around? And because a lot of entrepreneurs are basically self-employed people who have a load of people that work for them. They've actually got well-paid jobs. You know, they create a business that gives them a well-paid job. Can you remember the moment when you looked at your business and thought, do you know what, this is actually a business now? You're looking at it and you think, what? Like, can you remember those? I can remember a few key step changes myself during my journey. Can you remember any of those moments? You thought, oh my god, this is a proper business now.
I think the first one was when I took my 3 days off and I came back and nothing had
The world hadn't ended.
Yeah, I think I remember when I was about to turn my phone off. I put my phone and laptop in my suitcase for 3 days. I remember turning it on and just like my heart was racing and I was just wondering what was going to happen. And like first thing I did was like contacted my admin and one of my coaches, like, is everything okay? And they were like, it's all fine. Everything's fine. Like, really? You sure nothing's like, no one's complained, no one's been sued or nothing's been broken down? And I was like, wow, it's okay. Like it might actually be a functioning business. And that was like the biggest moment for me because that gave me a lot of confidence to then take Saturdays off. Because after that, once I had done those 3 days, I started taking Saturdays off. Before then, it was 7 days a week. And after that, I was like, I need 1 day to just unwind. So I started taking Saturdays off. And then that was, again, in itself was a game changer because I'd never done that before. I never knew what life was like, waking up on a Saturday and actually just chilling out and recharging. Whereas before, it was like another day, like just relentless. And I would say those were the biggest ones for me.
Those things as well, like this, you and I had a conversation earlier in the week when we were talking about heading into summer, you know, tops screeching around the corners, the tyres are coming off the rims. And there's going to be a lot of people who are running their own businesses who are literally like, it is every hour of the day, 7 days a week. There is, like, even Elon Musk, who's an absolute workaholic, like there is a law of diminishing returns. And you talk about this a lot within RNT about the importance of sleep, the importance of rest. And there is this false economy that some of us get into where we think, I'll just have less sleep, I'll just work more, I haven't got time to go to the gym. From your experiences, from both sides, from the entrepreneur and also from a PT and a nutritionist point of view, and all the clients you see come through, what sort of tips would you have to people? I know you've taught me a lot of good lessons about, I mean, like before this call, we were talking about the fact that I walked 45 minutes to my car this morning, and people would say, well, yeah, why would you do that when actually you could just I could park next to my boat rather than nearly an hour away? But it's like, well, that 45 minutes in the morning, I can get some headspace, I can think about some challenges, I was helping you to work on your business, I get my steps in. And to me, some people, it sounds illogical, like carving an hour or an hour and a half out to go for a walk. Whereas my experience has definitely been, it actually adds value and things like that. What top tips would you have to offer to the entrepreneurs watching this, who, you know, which are the highest impacts of those that you've worked with that we don't normally adopt, the sort of things we think are making us more effective, but actually they're making us less effective?
I think the biggest thing that entrepreneurs need to realize is that everyone relies on them, their team relies on them, their clients rely on them, their colleagues. And in order for them to be at their best, they have to take care of themselves. And they have to make a connection between self-care practices and its effect on the business and the positive effect it's going to have on your business. You might be taking time away from it, but it's going to give you so much more. It's not just, it's going to be productivity, it's going to be long-term health, it's going to be headspace, it's going to be stress resilience. There's so much that taking care of your physical being does for you that extends beyond the aesthetics. And for an entrepreneur, it's a secret weapon to keeping you as a high-performing motor car on the racetrack. You know, if you want to be on the racetrack going in the fast gears, you need to have those pit stops, don't you? And taking care of yourself is essentially those pit stops that allow you to keep propelling forward at the highest speed. The example I always give to people is I'm in the health and fitness industry myself, and when I neglected my self-care very badly, I ended up collapsing, and my health was at its worst, and my body fat was high. Body composition was bad. I was just in overdrive and fueled by adrenaline. And what I had to do is I had to give myself my own reset. And since then, no matter how busy I get in the business, I still make sure I do my steps, do my water, sleep enough, train, eat well. Because if I don't do those things, I can't be at my creative best. And if I'm not at my creative best, I'm not going to be able to build the business I want. So it's a non-negotiable, and it has to be considered that. And for entrepreneurs, they need to see the link between the two, and they need to connect that link. Because if they don't see the link, they'll see it as a waste of time rather than an added benefit that's actually going to propel their business forward.
I can definitely vouch for, like, absolutely wholeheartedly vouch for that being the case. Obviously, in 2019, we did my body transformation, my cut, my photo shoot. And in 2019, whilst it was a very challenging year because of the amount we took on, in 10 years of business, 2019 was my biggest year. Like, we bought 3 companies, we opened a new head office, we doubled the size of Property Entrepreneur, we went from doing small blocks of flats and small HMOs to big developments. We broke the world record for Get Up and Give Back through our charity fundraising. I can honestly say there's no way that I would have had the mental or physical capacity to do that if I wasn't. And that's the cleanest I've been. It was months with like clean food, working out, steps, water, no alcohol. Like, it was an absolute game changer. Without a doubt, it had a very, very high impact. Probably to my own detriment, because it enabled me to just thrash the red line. You've always got to be careful. But it did give, even then, my red line was significantly further away than where it would be normally, because it was just militant. And I did have a passing thought this morning of considering going back through that journey again, if for nothing else, for the productivity, because it is amazing. But I'm still carrying the experience with me. So slow and steady on that one, I think.
The productivity element is insane, because you're just firing on all cylinders when everything's in place.
And I think it is more enjoyable. Like, I think even when it's challenging, because you're clean. Like, even this morning, I woke up this morning, and sometimes I wake up with a bit of a foggy head. And my diet's reasonable, my exercise is reasonable, but it's nowhere near it was, when I was down to like really low body fat, really, really like religiously hitting my macros, walking my water. But even this morning, I woke up. Sometimes mornings I wake up. I don't know if you get this, because you're probably a lot cleaner than I am, consistently clean. Some mornings I wake up and I'm like wide awake, the lights are on, I'm like bang, 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 like piece of cake, fly out there. Some mornings it's like a slow start. Do you know what I mean? It's like sitting there, like, right, green tea, I'll drink my water, I'll get some steps in, I'm waiting for the fog to clear. Do you ever get that?
Less. I get it more towards the end of the day rather than the morning. In the morning, like, even if I struggle to get out of bed just from more mental exhaustion than anything, it'll still be I'll still flip the switch and be able to turn it on. But it's more like, how long can I keep it on during the day? And I usually start to flag around 5, 6, or 4, 5, 6. And that's when I know I need a rest or a walk or something to get out there. So I think there's definitely a correlation between the more consistently clean you are and the faster and the more you can get out of your mornings, for sure.
Without doubt. Yeah, I mean, that prime time, I'll still, at the minute, I'm getting up at 4 o'clock, because not with an alarm clock, just going to bed between 8:30 and 9:30. And just getting up with the sun. And, this time of year, we're heading towards the longest day of the year. It is light at 4 a.m, maybe not so much today because it's clouded over, but you can wake up, it's bright at 4 a.m, and it's such a head start to the day. And 8 times out of 10, I can fly straight at it, get creative. But yeah, I think because I'm not as clean as I was at my peak last year, maybe two or 3 days out of 10, 2 out of 10 probably, there's a bit of a foggy head and it can take a while. So yeah, being clean, without a doubt, it's working out, eating clean, putting the time and effort into steps, things like that, adds to your productivity. It doesn't take away from it. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You work with lots of, like, obviously the RNT positioning in the market is to work with busy professionals to get into the shape of their life, for life, to maintain it as well. From the experiences you've seen, like, what top tips could you offer people who are watching this? Obviously they can get the new book to actually read it. What things do you see consistently where people are letting themselves down, or entrepreneurs are letting themselves down and having a negative impact? And perhaps some top tips for them to take away and implement today to actually start to see some of those, the quick wins, the benefits and the rewards.
Yeah, the first one is making that connection that we spoke about and not seeing it as something that's going to add to them. And then the second thing is understanding that it doesn't need to be that difficult. You don't need to be killing yourself in the gym every single day. Simple things like 8 to 10,000 steps a day, 3 liters of water, healthy protein sources at each meal, strength training 3-4 days a week. That's what it really needs to do to get into shape. I know for you, a big mindset shift was, I don't need to kill myself. Like, I was telling you to actually calm down and to back off like all the high intensity workouts. I
didn't think RNT, mate. I don't think RNT makes any sense. I can honestly say I've done HIIT, I've done fasting, I've done vegan, I've done every single diet workout for the last 20 years. And when you taught me, when I went through the RNT journey for a couple of years, I genuinely thought none of this makes any sense. Like the first cleaning the palate was like, you need to eat more. I was like, but I want to lose weight. It was like, you know, you need to eat more. I was like, right, I'm going CrossFit 4 times a week and I'm running on a Saturday. You're like, yeah, we need to stop all that and just start walking. It's like, this doesn't make any sense at all. And it's not killing yourself. It's discipline over smashing it.
It's just laying down a structure. And I think one thing that entrepreneurs can do that really will help them is if they build their days and their structure around healthy self-care practices, like eating well, doing their steps, planning their steps in their day for strategic walks, getting on sleep on time. If they build their day and structure around this and then put their work around the key milestones that they need to tick off, they'll be surprised just how productive they can be in their days. Rather than, you know, just slamming through the day and then thinking I'll do a bit of exercise at the end of the day, actually put this first and then work around it. You'll be surprised just how much you can push forward and how much time you actually have in the day. That's a big mindset shift that I find a lot of busy professionals and entrepreneurs do face on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah. I've very much had that experience, both of doing it, executing it militantly and having the benefits, and also not doing it and seeing feeling the negatives. I'm probably halfway between the two at the minute.
A lot of it's like,
go on.
Oh, sorry, go on. No, I was going to talk about decision fatigue.
That is probably one of my biggest RNT game changers. The 2 RNT game changers for me is decision fatigue and making it visible. You know, like my whiteboards, like we give you on Property Entrepreneur, writing it on the mirror, making it a game is definitely one of them. And then the second is decision fatigue. Do you want to give people an insight to what that is?
Yeah, so we all have limited amount of decisions we can make in the day. We all have limited amount of willpower. You know, people blame their willpower for falling off plans, but the reality is you wake up every day and you've got a full willpower tank. By the end of the day, it's completely drained. Now, if every time you make a decision in the day, no matter how trivial it is, you're going to drain that willpower. And so simple things such as, am I going to wear a black t-shirt or a red t-shirt today? Or am I going to have chicken or turkey for lunch? Am I going to eat at 3 or 4 p.m.? Am I going to train at 1 or 2? Am I going to, the list goes on. The more you can automate these menial decisions in your day, the more capacity, the cognitive capacity you'll have in your brain to actually use it for creative components. And you'll find you have a lot less mental fatigue in the day if you can automate as many trivial ones as possible. And then a good example that people always refer to is, I always cheat on my diet in the evenings, or I always eat junk in the evenings. And if you think about why, it's because your willpower resources are completely zapped. You've spent all day wasting it on menial decisions. When you get to dinner, you're not going to want to have chicken and broccoli. You're going to want the pizza, right? And the same thing goes in business. If you can automate as much as possible with regards to your structure and your week, it just gives you that clarity to push forwards. And that's one of the reasons why the Sunday Sanity is so powerful, because you automate the decision of what am I going to do today or what am I going to do this week? It's just visible, it's clear, and the strategy is laid out for you to just execute. And if you can minimize as many decisions as possible in your day, you'll be surprised just how much mental energy you're wasting on it previously.
Yeah, definitely. And it is like consistency beats clever. It's having those, it's removing the decision, it's having them scheduled in. I know you and I both notoriously wear the same clothes. Like my only question now is like, do I wear a small t-shirt or a medium t-shirt? It's like, and I think even then I've probably only got like 1 black medium left, 2 pairs of black jeans, 4 black t-shirts, 1 white t-shirt and a white shirt. That's all you've got. You never have to think about it. It's like, is the sun out or not? Or it's not, so I'll wear a black t-shirt. Is it smart or casual? It's casual, so it's smart, so I'll wear a white shirt. It's definitely all of those things. I think the other thing as well is, and I've noticed this recently as I've started getting back into my like RNT methodology, is people think skipping meals is a good idea to claw back the calories, but it's not, because it's like you skip it, you put yourself through the pain of being hungry, and then when you do eat, you're either so exhausted you can't bother to make anything healthy, or you're so hungry you just stuff your face. Yeah,
there's so many things that are perpetuated as myths in the industry that just go against our physiology and go against our productivity and actually trying to be progressive. Like you probably, if you skip meals because I'm busy, it's going to come back, bite you in the ass again, because you're either going to stuff your face with unhealthy food, or you're just going to go into adrenaline and stress, which is going to affect your sleep and it's going to affect you the next day. And it's just a snowball that keeps going on and on and on.
Yeah, and when the solution is so straightforward, like when you do RNT, and it's like, these are the things you do, it's so straightforward, you just got to do it. As soon as you try and cheat the system, however it is, with buffering or meal skipping or whatever. It only complicates things. Right, just to close off, so with regards to the book, before we go into a couple of sort of closing questions, have you got a copy of it there?
I have. Let me put it up. Here
Just
it
for
is.
those people who are going to be looking for it on, is it now available on Amazon?
It's available on Amazon as paperback and Kindle, and the audio will be recorded at the end of the month.
Very good. Transform your body, transform your life. Highly recommended. The methodology is solid, and I think the biggest thing people will take from it is it sounds like it sounds so different to everything you've ever been taught. Like when you told me to stop doing high intensity training, stop CrossFit, stop running, I hated doing them all anyway, so it was quite a relief. But the fact that I got better results was just an absolute mind blower. So yeah, highly recommend getting the book to everybody listening. Just a few closing sentiments for people who are scaling up their companies and want to sort of resonate with the journey. On your journey from sort of start up to scale up, whether this was in the last couple of years or it's today, what would you say the biggest challenges you faced have been, and perhaps a little either top tips or learnings from those that might be able to help people to avoid those bumps in the roads?
The biggest ones for me have been don't make knee-jerk decisions. Always sleep on it if you can. Those would be, especially when it's around people and when it's to do with team. Just take a breather, sleep on it, and it can always wait. That's been one that's been has always cost me in the past. The second would be the hardest thing for me. Like as I always talk to you about, is team. I really struggle with team and team management and understanding the different culture dynamics of a growing team. That's like the position I'm in now. And the phase we're in now, understanding the culture dynamics and the culture changes that come with scale up is very difficult. And you can only learn by experience, by the experience of going through it, and the whole concept of the team that you came with aren't going to be the team that you go with. That's something you romanticize and you keep fixed with you, and someone can keep telling you all day long, and you still won't believe them until it happens.
So with that, on the basis that I've told that to hundreds of property entrepreneurs in the past, and none of them have believed me, I said exactly the same to you. When you scale up the business, there's always a trade-off. Every level has another devil. You want to scale up, and I think one of the things I would have said to you is like, it's like shedding your skin, like a snake, or snake sheds its skin, or crab loses its shell. You have to lose what you came with in order to go where you want to go. And one of the things I said to you is like, all the Band of Brothers team who were there at the beginning will leave. And everyone says, well, no, they won't. We're friends. We're on a mission together. Having actually gone through that journey now, like, is that accurate? Is that partially true, or?
It's definitely true. I mean, I can't relate to the fact that they've all left, but quite a few of the earlier people have left, and it's always been around when we've introduced new systems and new processes that are good for the business, but they're not used to it. So it's met with a lot of resistance. And what I've realized is when you try and introduce new systems with old teams, is they take months and months to get on with it. And it's always like, it's a slow process. You got to almost force them through it. And then a couple months later, they end up leaving. So it's quite a painful process. And like I said, you'd only understand it once you go through it. You could keep telling me all day long, and I would probably be like, yeah, no, we're mates. We're on this together. But it's only when you go through it you can understand it. And that cultural dynamic is being definitely one of the hardest things I'm going through now. And I've probably been going through it for about 6 to 9 months, and I need to kind of get out of it.
And what do you think maybe one of the biggest successes you've had? Maybe something that you changed or put in place that really step changed the business, or something that went wrong and you fixed it? If you were to look at just one thing to close, what's one really important or valuable thing you've done in the business that has been an absolute game changer that you just think? I mean, for me, one of the things I did was started buying companies. And it's far easier to buy a company than it is to build one. Once you've earned your stripes building one, that's definitely one of the things that's step changed me in recent years. What sort of step change and game changer could you offer?
I would say it's not being open all the time. So from the start of the company till pretty much 2 years in, we were open for clients at all times. And then we got to the point around May 2019 where I was running out of capacity. I needed to change the internal system. So we added a CRM in, but I couldn't add the CRM in without stopping new clients coming in. So they were like, well, you've got to stop taking on clients. And I was like, how are we gonna do that? Like, I've never done that. And it's like, you have to, because we need to change the entire system, because everything was running on Excel and Sheets and manual emails. Like, I was sending manual emails to hundreds of people a week, like asking for feedback, all these things that should just be automated. And I needed to upgrade the system. So we closed the doors for the first time. And it was quite a scary thing to do the first time you do it. Like I said, no, we're not taking on clients. And then we did the whole reopening in July, and everything, the site crashed in 50 minutes. And I think I texted you straight away. I was like, Dan, what do I do? Like, I've got people knocking on the door. He's like, put up a waiting list. And we put up a waiting list, and we started taking deposits. And ever since then, we've run on quarterly campaigns. And that's been a real game changer, because it's allowed us to organize ourselves and not just be constantly chasing that next sale. And we know now there's a routine and rhythm in the business. We've got a rhythm in the business. And I'd say that's been the biggest step change and game changer in the past sort of 12, 18 months.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from a marketing point of view, it's a no-brainer, because you can use the oversubscribe model, build the waiting list, build the hype, open, close. And then internally, you can get the rhythm in the business where you're not constantly balancing business development and sales and keeping it going. It gives you a bit more predictability. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Akash. And thank you for the value that you've added, like personally, and with RNT, the methodology and the process to me and my journey, my fitness, my nutrition, my cut, my body transformation. And equally, like, congratulations. There's probably only a handful of companies I've worked with in the last couple of years who've achieved the level of growth and the trajectory that you have. Growing a business is not for the faint-hearted, but if you do 5 years growth in 2 years growth, like you, in 5 years growth in only 2 years, like you have, you really are pushing it to the level. So congratulations on everything you've achieved. Any closing sentiments before you finish? How can people reach out to you?
Yeah, you can reach out on www.rntfitness.com. If you want to get the book, it's on Amazon. That's the best place to get it. And you can reach out on social media at Akash Vaghela on any handle. I just want to finish by saying a massive thank you to you for all the wisdom you've shared over the years and being part of the journey. It's been really, really cool to have you in my corner in the fight of entrepreneurship that it is. And for anyone listening who's thinking about joining the Property Entrepreneur Program, I would say jump in with both feet, because it's a proven methodology, and you're actually learning from someone who's got skin in the game, which is very rare in this industry. So if you want to learn the blueprint of building a business and understanding all the challenges that are going to come with each level, Dan's the man.
That's very good of you. Thank you very much. Sentiment shared, and we're only 2 years in. We've got another decade ahead, so it's never going to change. Every level has another devil. It's going to get bigger, better, faster, harder. But I look forward to sharing the journey with you. Thank you for joining us today, Akash. I genuinely wish you all the best with everything with RNT. I'll catch you again soon.